Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Sales Matchmaker podcast. I am your host, Janet Clark. I am the CEO of the Freedom Shift, and I am the Sales Matchmaker. So I'm really psyched to be here today because I want to share with you my experience and thoughts on a really important topic, and that is how to hire the right salesperson and why, if you're a coach or a consultant, you may be struggling with this. So look, if you want to be able to scale your business, you are going to have to, at some point, have a sales team. And it starts with hiring that first salesperson. And, many business owners are hesitant to do that. They know they want to, but they have these barriers that come up, these things that get in the way of doing it. And that's what we're going to talk about. They're really myths that they have, misconceptions about hiring a salespeople. So, let's talk about that, because if you want to create a life of freedom, then you're going to have to start thinking differently about your business. You absolutely cannot be the person who does everything in your business. And you know that at a certain point, you're just going to have too many sales calls to be able to serve the growing number of clients that you have in your business. So at some point, and this happened to me, and I've talked about this before, in my first B2B sales agency, I got to a point where I was spending so much time literally managing my book of business, serving my clients that I had brought in, that I no longer had time to do the prospecting, the lead generation, and the selling that needed to be done. Now, one could say, well, there's a lot of different ways that you can generate leads online, which we know there is, but we've talked a lot about the quality of those leads, right? So one way or another, at some point, somebody is going to have to be doing that for you. They're going to have to be doing the qualifying piece, and they're going to have to be doing the selling piece of it. So let's talk about this, and let me know if any of this resonates with you as a coach or a consultant. So I found that there's really three things that get in the way of the comfort level of being able to bring a salesperson on. The first one is that there are a lot of people who don't believe that anyone else can sell their programs. So is that you? Like, do you feel like you are the only one that can really sell what you do? Because it's kind of complicated and you really have to sort it out, and you have to make that connection with the person to figure out if you're going to be able to help them, and that really nobody else can do that for you. Well, that's a myth that we're going to talk about how to overcome that. But you may be one of those people who feels that way. Another thing that comes up a lot is many people believe that they could only bring a salesperson in that has that exact same experience that they have, or the same background and experience as their ideal client. So in other words, if they're not from your industry, there's no way they're going to be able to sell for you, because they're just not going to understand it. So I can hear some of you going, yeah, I know, I feel that way. I hear that one a lot. And the third thing maybe that you're feeling is that you just can't even imagine how you would possibly find this person, do the hiring, recruiting, hiring, interviewing that needs to be done, figure out how to tell if it's a good salesperson, and then bringing them on board, training them in what you do, and then managing them on an ongoing basis. So if you're feeling that whole process feels totally overwhelming to you, you're probably this person who's saying to yourself, you know what, it's just easier for me to do it myself. And for a lot of you, I know you actually love selling. So if you're at that point where it's like, well, I like the selling, and I really don't feel like I'm, can figure out how to offload it, so I'm just going to keep doing it myself, which sounds great, but it is going to cap your ability to grow your business. So deep down inside, you know that you have to extricate yourself from the day-to-day selling in order to free up your time. And so we're going to be talking about how to do that, because when you want to grow, when you started your business in the first place, it was so that you could serve more people, right? You could make a bigger impact. And so if you're doing the selling, you're really limiting the impact and the service that you can provide to your ideal clients. And it's really interesting that I find a lot of people will quickly hire someone to work on the fulfillment side of their business, and they keep doing the selling. But that's really opposite of what you started your business to do and what people are really buying, right? They're buying access to you. So you're the expert. You're the one that they want to have access to. And if you're spending all your time on sales calls, then you're defeating the purpose by having somebody else constantly, handling your clients after the fact. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't ways to scale and bring a team in to fulfill, because we will talk about that later in later episodes. But the first thing, when you get to the point where you're at a certain level in your business, probably at the 6-figure mark, it's time to bring in a salesperson. So I'm going to address each one of these beliefs a little bit, and then tell you what you're going to be able to do about them. So first of all, the first thing that we talked about was that no one else can sell your program. And that is complete and utter nonsense. So look at most of the top multi-6-figure and 7-figure coaches and consultants who are out there. And you're going to see that those people are not selling their own programs. Now, I've been on Ryan Levesque's team for the last 3.5 years with the Ask Method, and I have never seen Ryan get on a sales call. Okay, so we have a team that enrolls hundreds of people into his high-ticket program, his coaching program, and he does not take those sales calls, nor does the COO, nor the CFO, or the COO, or the CTO, right? So the person who is running the business, the C-level executives, are not doing the selling. Okay, so if you're thinking like this and it is too complicated for somebody to come in and sell, then you need to redesign your offer a little bit and tweak it up so that somebody else can sell it. And I'm going to address that a little bit later about how to do that. But let's talk about the other myths. So number 2 is that only salespeople who are from your industry can sell your programs, right? And that is a total fallacy. So a great salesperson can sell anything they believe in. And I've sold everything from complex e-business solutions that required engineers to design them, literally $1 million solutions, to businesses that I knew really nothing about other than what they were going to do for the client, how it would transform the client's world, and also the benefits of working with my company. So I've sold those for many years in my corporate life. I have sold health insurance, which is a totally different animal. And all I did to become qualified or certified to do that was spend 40 hours studying and take an exam, right? So it wasn't something I was an expert at. I sold IT certification programs. I am the least technical person that you would ever meet, but I was selling these Cisco certification programs, no problem. And I have sold all kinds of high-ticket coaching and consulting programs. I've sold physical products, like phone systems. I've sold intangible coaching programs. From health coaching to relationship coaching to spiritual training programs, all kinds of tech solutions. I sold Girl Scout cookies. I mean, hey, if you can sell, you can sell. So all it takes for a good salesperson is a conviction that your product works, and the willingness to gain some product knowledge, and a genuine desire to enroll the right people into your program. And that is all totally possible when you approach it the right way. Now, the third myth is that it's easier to keep doing the sales yourself because it's too much work to recruit, hire, train, and manage a salesperson. And I'm here to tell you that there are people that can help you with that, right? It can be done. And it's not that difficult if you find the right agency or coaching person, company to help you to do that. I'll plug myself right here. That's what we do with the Sales Map program, right? In the Sales Matchmaker, we match salespeople. So, and it's more than just matching the salespeople, but it's really, like I said earlier, helping you with your offer as well. So I want to give you some things to really evaluate how you can evaluate a salesperson, because this is really important as you're thinking about this for your own business. And I'm going to call it the 5 C's that a salesperson should possess. So these are characteristics that you would be looking for to know that you have the right salesperson. And the first one is confidence. Now, this is absolutely required for somebody to be excellent at sales. A salesperson must know where they shine, that they are great at what they do, and that they have the gifts and talents, and they recognize that, and they're willing to share them. So if you speak to somebody who's a little wishy-washy, or tell you they'll try, or they like what you do and they'll give it a shot, if they don't have the confidence right away that you feel good about them, then they're not a good sales professional at this point, right? So it is so important for them to have this kind of confidence, because they have to have learned how to transform their own doubts, their own insecurities, their own negative self-talk, all these things we all have. And they have to have learned how to transform those things within themselves into self-confidence and forward momentum and positive energy. And when they have learned to do this for themselves, then they can help other people do it too. And I call that, when I talk to people, you can borrow my confidence. So when I'm talking to a prospect who's struggling to make a decision, and I feel confident in myself, I can help them to feel confident in themselves, so that they're going to be able to take this leap of faith. So confidence means being comfortable in their own skin, giving you the idea and the impression that they are the master of their own destiny. They believe that, which is why most salespeople who are on 100% commission have to have a lot of confidence in themselves, or they're not going to be commission-oriented people, right? And they have to be authentically themselves. And again, I'll talk about this more at other times. I don't want to go deep into this right now. But, a lot of people think that salespeople have to have a certain personality, which is not true. A great salesperson is comfortable in their own skin, and they're very authentic about who they are. And that's very comforting, and that really makes them more successful. So if they have confidence that they can sell your program, then that's a key indicator that they've got the first C covered. Okay, now the next C is conviction. Now, conviction means that they believe without a shadow of a doubt in your offer, and that they believe that your program, whatever it is that you're offering, definitely transforms lives for the right clients. So they love what you do, and they see the value in it, even if they don't know all the details of it. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been selling the Ask method for 3.5 years. I've sold millions of dollars into that high-level coaching. And I don't know every detail about how the ask method works. And I don't know every aspect of the coaching. And I wouldn't be able to coach somebody who was in the program on how to be successful in the program. But I do know how to sell people into it. And I do know the value that the program gives. And I have 100% conviction that anybody who goes into this program is going to succeed at it. So that is what conviction is. And it's super, super important. So what it does is it really allows people, it allows that salesperson to assess the person that they're talking to as to whether they're a good fit for the program, rather than feeling like they have to coerce the person to come into the program, because they have so much conviction about the program that they don't feel the need to sell the program, right? So again, that gets a little deeper into some of the other things that I talk about at other times. But let's just leave it at that, right? The conviction in you, your program, and the results that you get is hugely important as a characteristic for a great salesperson. The third thing is curiosity. So what that means is that this person, this salesperson, will be more interested in seeking to understand and building other people up than they are in just making a sale and getting a commission. So when the salesperson demonstrates curiosity, they will elevate the other person, and they'll see that person and they'll be interested in that person. And by elevating the other person, they elevate your status as a coach. They represent you in a very positive and professional way, and they elevate their own status as well, which builds a lot of trust. And of course, we know trust is a huge component in somebody deciding that they want to come and work with you. So that salesperson that has the curiosity and really cares about other people is going to build trust a lot faster. Okay, number 4 is certainty. Now, certainty really means that they are confident, all those things that we talked about above, in the results that the person is going to get. Certainty is not just that your program works, but it's the certainty that this person they are talking to is actually a good fit for your program. So what happens in a high ticket sale, and I've mentioned this many times before, is that 2 things have to happen, right? One, that person has to believe the program works, and they have to believe, obviously, in the coach that is delivering the program. But the second thing is the big question that the salesperson really has to help them work through is, will it work for me? And this is where the certainty comes in with the salesperson, where they can be certain themselves that it is going to work for that particular person, and then be able to inspire that person to believe it for themselves. So certainty is a little bit different than the conviction, but they all work hand in hand together. And finally, the 5th C, and it's extremely important, is your salesperson has to be a collaborative person. The best salespeople, they really are mavericks in a way. So they're very, they have the confidence, and they're great at being self-starters and self-managing and all of that sort of thing. However, they have to recognize and be willing to recognize that it's teamwork that really makes a company thrive. And that collaboration is part of that. And so you really want somebody who enjoys the camaraderie, right? You want them to fit well into your community. You want them to become a valuable member of your team. They're not an outsider that's just doing enrollments, right? They're literally part of the team. So again, I'll kind of refer to myself. I mean, I do the selling for the Ask method. I don't work within the company all year long. I do enrollments at certain times of the year. However, I am part of their communication system all year. I know everything that's going on, all the successes, all the wins, all of the conversation that's going on within the coaching team so that I know when people are hitting new milestones, making successes. I can follow the people that I enroll in the program. I'm part of the community. So that's really important, even though I'm not technically working in the company. So that's going to be something that you're going to want for your salesperson. And you want that person, that collaboration, to extend to a really good communication process where they're showing up for your sales team meetings, where they're feeding back the information that they're getting from people that they're speaking to, where they're constantly looking for continuous improvement within your process, within themselves, and within the ability that they have to generate revenue for you, because that's why you have a salesperson. So look, if you start thinking differently about what it would be like to actually bring on a good salesperson, and you can find somebody that has these 5 characteristics, you will be able to get somebody who can do a really credible job for you and get you the freedom to step out of that day-to-day selling. So any good salesperson who loves your program, can resonate with what you do, that has these characteristics, is going to be able to sell your program. I guarantee that. And there are a few things maybe that you're going to need to do that I talked about earlier. One of those is you're going to have to really make sure that you have a really irresistible offer, something that's really compelling that people will want to buy, and that you have a targeted client. Like, you know who your ideal client is and what those characteristics of an ideal client are. And then your salespeople will be able to qualify and make sure you are getting the right clients into your program. And again, I'm always happy to chat about that and help with that. We continue to improve our own sales map. Sales map is the Sales Momentum Accelerator program that I do in conjunction with my partner, Tobin Slavin. We're actually bringing on another partner into this program, which I'll talk about in a few weeks coming up, because we're making some great enhancements. But the bottom line is that what we do is we match salespeople, and we teach those salespeople how to do the prospecting on LinkedIn and how to nurture and cultivate relationships on your behalf. So we are always bringing new salespeople into our High Ticket Sales Alliance so that we can match them up with our clients who come through SalesMap. And we're always working with our salespeople to build these characteristics. Now, we look for people with those characteristics, but we're also working with them and mentoring them and getting them stronger in that. It's really important. But anyway, back to you. Key is having the right offer. And the second thing is having the right targeted client. Now, I am a huge believer that most people are way too broad in their niche. They haven't niched down. So next week, I'm going to be doing the podcast, and it's going to be all about how to niche down, how to really develop the right niche so that you know exactly how to find your right clients, where they're hanging out, how to talk to those people, and we can codify that so that a salesperson can do the exact same thing. Because once you get really clear on that, that is then duplicatable. So make sure that you tune in next week, and we will be having another awesome episode of the Sales Matchmaker podcast. And until then, happy selling. Always feel free to reach out to me if you're a salesperson looking to be matched up with a high-level coach or consultant, or if you are a high-level coach or consultant looking for a salesperson, then you can get to me at janet@thefreedomshift.com or LinkedIn, Facebook, all those other great places. All right, until next week, have a wonderful rest of your week, and bye for now. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Sales Matchmaker podcast. To hear more episodes, visit us at www.thesalesmatchmaker.com.